We begin this newscast in the capital of the crisis-stricken northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. The Equinoxe market goes into flames. Enormous material damage has been recorded in this other fire incident in that market in the town of Bamenda. Our correspondent Stella files in details.
This is how wild the flames were, sending panic across the neighborhood.
We just be confused. Only smoke will be there for house, wait for we for breathe no be there. So we struggle move na picking every house.
Many traders defied the scary nights to save their goods. According to eyewitness, the fire broke out from outside the locked Equinoxe market.
All me and the picking in the inside house. I don't watch us me and chop sleep. I want hear something hala like bomb. I tell my big mama say something hala. As I say no nothing. He hala second time. I come on now go outside now go look. I want say I say na smoke the commode. I start shouting sumoko. Before so one neighbor come up for up that side. I run can go and go look away. Fire ready consume the stuff. The way you know if we wait for loss and no day.
By this morning, the extent of the damage is clear. Shop owners are in pain, seeing their goods reduced to nothing useful. This fire incident has increased the burden the affected will now shoulder. Shops not affected by the fire were looted by those who came to assist the owners rescue their goods.
Never house will be get of a house. They can't enter to put. They can't enter to tip and two. Them broke all house, so we don't know how we'll start. We don't know how we'll do. So we don't know all things. Even man try they move all things inside house. So no know how we'll start and how we'll end.
Behind these ashes and empty shops are people whose livelihood depended on the sales made each day.
And in fact, because now for they are the chop, for they are the same thing they was doing. So they were out in the community. So I don't know me. I don't really know say no only God if you give me the go ahead living because I don't know.
Paul Achombong, Bamenda City Mayor, was among those who visited the scene this morning, first to calm the affected, assess the level of damage, and then the possible cause of the incident.
We had to call the people who were there at the scene at the beginning of the event. And without doubt, these are credible people who have attested to us, the DO, the brigade commander, the judicial authorities, that the cause of the fire was an electrical failure.
This is not the first time market fires have been attributed to poor electrical connections, but nothing has been done to prevent such occurrences.
Elsewhere, another fire incident in Makepe, Miksoke, here in Cameroon's economic capital, has rendered several persons homeless and has deprived some of their source of livelihood. This fire incident has been attributed to poor electrical connections. Details in this report compiled by Smanjik Angebre.
It was another ugly day for the inhabitants of Makepe Misoke, precisely those living at Antre Cheferie, as they watched with their eyes the destruction being done on their properties by fire. I saw a heavy smoke coming out from the workshop, so I break into the workshop only to discover that the smoke was coming out from the ceiling. The ravaging flames swept away over 5 living rooms and a workshop. Some courageous residents struggled to save some important household items under the scorching heat produced by the inferno. The arrival of the army rescue team at the fire scene relieved some of these inhabitants as the fire kept on spreading to nearby houses. The fire has been blamed on the poor connection of electrical cables in the workshop. No life was lost as a result of the incident, but properties lost have been evaluated to millions of francs CFA.
Several parts of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, today came under heavy police deployment in response to the presence of Professor Maurice Kamto, National President of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement, CRM political party, who intended to launch his book today here in the country's economic capital, and the police deployment perturbed circulation in some parts of the town. We shall be coming back to this report in some few minutes. Time for us to talk about HIV/AIDS and the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the fight against this other health problem. Immaculate Fokwe has more.
The COVID-19 pandemic represents a significant threat for people living with HIV and AIDS, given that the pandemic has drawn away attention.
We're talking about two pandemic viruses that have affected the world globally. And now with the COVID-19, where many persons have lost their jobs, where people are quite idle and indoors, we have high levels of promiscuity. The access to medications as well, it's quite hindered by the COVID pandemic.
With a global record of 37.7 million infected people, including 500,000 in Cameroon, there is a need for the population to be aware of the risk factors.
The vertical process is from mother to child during birth, during pregnancy, and the horizontal processes are like what we know: sexual intercourse, use of infected needles with IV drug users, blood transfusion, so and a minimal extent through kissing, that's the saliva, if the individual has a wound in the mouth.
During the commemoration of World AIDS Day, which has its theme "End Inequalities and AIDS," health experts urge Cameroonians to know their status.
I know many persons are scared to know their status due to the stigma that comes with the virus. But I think with the ability of us talking more about the virus, encouraging people to know their status, and the upcoming new antiretroviral medications which prolong the lives of those infected, we are getting closer to that. Not there yet, but I think by the year 2030, it's a goal we can achieve with everybody.
The World Health Organization has made it a purpose to have a 90-90-90 rule, where at least 90% of the population should know their HIV status. From the positive cases, at least 90% should be placed on treatment, and at least 90% of those being treated should have their viral load suppressed.
HIV/AIDS in Africa in the COVID-19 context, the emergency of a response. We shall come to this in the second segment of this edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Equinoxe Television. And still in health, the Douala Lakentini Hospital officials say they are stepping up the quality of healthcare delivery in that amenity, and of course they are working on improving on infrastructure and healthcare services in that health amenity. They were speaking to the press and the public today on the occasion of a symposium within the context of the celebration of the 90th anniversary of that health amenity created in 1931. And we have greater details on this in this extract of the Secretary General at the Governor's office, at the office of the Governor of the Littoral region of the country, who was presiding that symposium, and of course the managing director of the Lakentini Hospital. Take a listen.
We are celebrating the 90th anniversary of the Hôpital Lakentini of Douala. We are here to witness evolution of this institution, and we are proud to see that the head of state, His Excellency Paul Biya, has put in place all necessary measures to increase the level of this hospital.
Nous voulons amplifier nos compétences et notre offre de soins.
We want to step up our competencies in healthcare delivery in the domain of cardiology, for instance, by putting in place a cardiac catheterization unit. Many who have health issues in this domain are obliged to go abroad. Even though we have human resource competencies, we just need equipment to offer services in this domain.
De pouvoir offrir ce type de soins dans notre formation sanitaire. Ça, c'est un exemple.
We will open our hemodialysis center, which has already been constructed. We are already acquiring equipment, and so from next year we will be able to decongest the general hospital.
Dès l'année prochaine, nous allons certainement décongestionner l'hôpital général qui en souffre.
The hemodialysis center will have 22 generators and will be one of the biggest in our country, and thus contributes to the improvement of healthcare delivery for patients.
La qualité de la prise en charge de nos malades.
Professor Maurice Kamto, National President of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement (CRM) political party, could not launch his book today here in Douala. The book launch was prohibited by authorities after a heavy deployment of police officers in some parts of the town that perturbed circulation of vehicles. Senazi has more.
Valet Bisenge Douala has known heavy presence of security forces comprising police and gendarmes throughout Wednesday, December 1. Reason: the presence of Professor Maurice Kamto since Tuesday. He is lost in Hotel Valet de Prince. Early Wednesday, entry into this hotel has been barred by security elements. This as the CRM president plans to launch a book of his at the restaurant La Chaumière in Bonapriso, Douala 1 subdivision. At the book launch venue, the restaurant premises was besieged by police and gendarmes. Getting to the restaurant from both ends of the main road was practically impossible as police vehicles were used to block them. Circulation was deviated, with consequence being stiff traffic jam created in Bonapriso. Same situation prevailed at Valet Bisenge. The road path where is located the hotel was completely blocked. Economic activities seem to have been threatened or slowed down as a result. But when questioned, no economic operator accepted speaking on camera for security reasons.
Hello. And we wrap up the first part of this newscast with this advertorial on the fight against violence against women and girls by the Network of Solidarity, Hope and Empowerment. Details in this report.
The effects of rape last a lifetime. It's a whole psychological trauma that the victims have to go through. We have children who are raped and they live with it all their life. I was talking about a 50-year-old who confided in me because she can't have children. She's been accused of being barren. Meanwhile, she spoke for the first time. She was raped by her uncle and her womb was destroyed, so she can't bear any children. You have another woman on the platform. She spoke for the first time. She wrote it on the platform 50 years after. That's the first time she's talking about her rape because of the stigma that involves rape.
Many rape survivors remain silent for years and even decades because the reaction of parents, relatives, friends, and society at large closed them up, shot and crushed them down when they were raped.
When the parents recognize, or the children, they reveal that they were raped, the way parents do respond, it's what matters. If you don't respond properly, the victim is going to, call back and never tell you what happened. You will never know what happens.
The survivors are often blamed, and this is why anti-rape crusaders are on the streets of Cameroon's economic capital, Douala, to say
it has never been the victim's fault. Never. It is the rapist's fault. We've seen children, because people sometimes accuse people of their dressing. It is never the victim's fault. It is the perpetrator's fault, because we've seen 3-month children being raped. Were they dressed sexually